Welcome back to Classy and Sassy, the podcast where we sip our truth, straighten our crown, and talk about the versions of ourselves that we worked really hard to grow out of. I'm your host, Erica Regina, and today we're going somewhere tender but necessary. Because we're talking about healing the version of you that always settled for less. And before you roll your eyes and tell me, oh girl, I'm fine now, are you? Are you really? Because if you have ever stayed in a relationship past its expiration date or tolerated nonsense in your friendships, accepted really just crumbs in situationships, overworked yourself for praise, kept quiet when you know you should have spoken up, or taken on responsibilities that truly were not yours, then there's a version of you, a younger, softer, maybe it's a more afraid version, who settled because she simply didn't know she deserved better. And today we're going to put some love, respect, and healing where her name is. Not shame, not blame, healing. So let's get into it. Now let's start here. Who is the version of you that settled for less? Because she's not weak, she's not stupid or embarrassing, and she's not something you need to hide. What she is a survivor. She may have been the younger you who didn't have guidance. The you who was simply exhausted. The you who thought bare minimum was normal. You know, the you that didn't want to rock the boat, the people-pleasing version, or the strong friend you, or I'm just going to deal with it version, or I don't want to be lonely person. Or how about I'm going to settle for this because I don't believe better exists for me version. And that version was doing the best with what she knew. She wasn't settling because she wanted to. She settled because she didn't know her options yet. And when you don't understand your value, your choices will reflect that. But here's where the healing starts. You are not her anymore. And she needs to know that. So let's talk about why she did these decisions. Because healing requires understanding. Sometimes it's simply a matter of you settled because you were tired, you wanted love, approval, maybe even peace. You were afraid to be alone. Or you were simply perhaps in survival mode. Survival mode is not about thriving, it's about getting through the day. And if you're just trying to survive, you don't have the capacity to ask for more. You don't even have the imagination for more. So that version of you that settled, she wasn't wrong. She was operating from what she had. And a lot of us forget that the reasons we settled was because we did not have the emotional or relational resources to choose differently. And let's be honest, some of the things we accepted in our past, we wouldn't even answer the phone for now because growth is real. But here's something nobody talks about. Healing requires compassion for your past self. People try to heal through their shame. You know, why did I stay? Why did I tolerate that behavior? Why did I believe that? Why did I accept so little? But shame isn't healing. It's punishment. It's the version of you that's settled. But that version of you doesn't need punishment. She needs understanding and grace. She needs someone to say, you did the best you could, but I got it from here. Healing is when you present and you decide that your present self becomes the protector your past self needed. That moment you can look back at her without judgment, that is when you're truly growing. Now, let's get into the part where we may get a little personal. When I look back on certain seasons of my life, friendships, relationships, jobs, even identity, I can see the version of who, how shall I say, the version of me that just swallowed things, smiled through things, or tried to be the easy one. I see the woman who thought, it's fine, I'm fine, I'll just deal with it. But behind that fine is exhaustion, hurt, fear, self-doubt, and silence. Moving was a turning point for me, not geographically, but emotionally. Because when you move, you grieve. You confront what you tolerated. You confront what you outgrew. And you confront what you carried for way too long. You have to meet the version of yourself who can settle for peace instead of just advocating. Meet the version who is too loyal to the wrong people. And meet the version who couldn't imagine the life you have right now. Healing that person means having conversations with myself. They weren't cute, but they were necessary. Let's talk about what healing actually looks like, because social media will lie to you. Healing does not mean, oh, I journaled once. I bought a new planner, I posted a couple of inspirational quotes, and I burned some sage and everything was fixed. That is not how it works. Healing is messy, uncomfortable, inconvenient. It can be humbling. It can make you realize you didn't have boundaries. I mean, at all. Healing can be accepting that some people are not good for you. Healing is grieving the you who didn't know better and acknowledging your own patterns. But here's the kicker. Healing doesn't always feel good. Sometimes healing feels like heartbreak because you're letting go of a version of yourself that you needed simply to survive. But she can't come with you to your next chapter. Healing the settled version of you actually looks like this. Saying no quicker. Saying yes slower. Not always responding immediately. Choosing your peace over simple people-pleasing. Choosing rest over overstimulation. Choosing yourself over approval. And not ignoring red flags that you know you used to collect. Not explaining your boundaries to people. Walking away sooner. Valuing your emotional safety. Not giving benefits of the doubt that people have not earned yet. And choosing relationships that are healthy and not just familiar. Healing is visible in your behavior, not your captions. Let's talk about the guilt that comes with healing, because people don't warn you about this part. When you heal, you will sometimes outgrow people, situations, patterns, and identities. You outgrow who you used to be. And sometimes because of that, you may feel guilty. You feel guilty for changing, for choosing differently, heck, for needing more, for outgrowing environments that used to fit you, for becoming someone your old life does not recognize. But guilt is not a sign you're wrong. Guilt is a sign you're evolving. Not everyone is meant to come with you. And not every version of you is meant to come with you. And that's okay. Growth always feels like loss before it feels like liberation. Let's talk about forgiveness, the part nobody wants to do. To heal the version of you that's settled, you have to forgive yourself for settling. Forgiveness doesn't mean you approve of what happened. It doesn't mean you're okay with it. It doesn't mean it didn't hurt. Forgiveness means I will not let this define me anymore. You forgive yourself because you were trying, you didn't know better, you didn't have the tools or the confidence. You were simply surviving and growing and figuring life out. Forgiveness is the closure you give yourself. Healing is not about becoming a new you. That's a myth. Healing is about becoming the real you. The version of you that existed before the world told you to shrink. The version of you that believed she deserved ease. The version that wasn't scared to dream big. The version that wasn't carrying everybody else's expectations. When you heal the version of you that's settled, you become the version that doesn't settle anymore. You start making decisions from self-worth instead of self-doubt, from confidence instead of fear, from clarity, not confusion, from abundance, not scarcity. That is real healing. Now let's be clear. Healing is not a static. It's a lifestyle. It shows up in who you date, who you text back, what you will tolerate, and what you will walk away from. Your standards, your boundaries, your lifestyle, heck, your friendships, your goals, your energy. Healing is a makeover you may not be able to see, but you can feel. It's the glow up nobody comments on, but everybody notices. Healing the version of you that settled for less is not about dwelling on the past. It's about upgrading your future. It's about looking at that younger you and saying, I understand why you did what you did, but I'm different now, and I'll take it from here. Because that's the real glow up. Healing isn't becoming a new person. Healing is giving the old you a soft place to land. Now, if this episode is hitting you in the chest, share it with someone who is outgrowing their old life. And if you want me to do, say, a part 2 of signs you're outgrowing your old identity, just let me know. But as always, stay classy, stay sassy, and stay in your healing era.